All right, call hello Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone of Ruel. I am not a member, however, I've entered into their labors. Peace and blessings to the sincere brothers and sisters doing this wherever you are, whatever your lot may be. Back at you with another quick one. I was fortunate enough through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to get this book. So first off, I saw this Elder Malcolm from the Great Millstone of Chicago camp had this book, and he got it many years ago for a fraction of this. So I waited and I waited, and I was able to purchase this off of abesbooks.com instead of buying it off Amazon or somewhere where it's going to be overpriced. I got this book 2 weeks ago at $8, and now it has jumped right back up to $114, $170 in some instances. But the thing I wanted to get, this book is a great example of their tongues falling upon themselves. And I was reading page, I believe it was in, I have them marked. I have a couple pages marked, but I'm on chapter 4, and damn, I can't find it. I thought I marked this. It ain't nothing but the devil. We observed. Yeah, so page 31. I'm going to read a couple of things. And this guy here, when he wrote the book, he's under the impressions of that pseudoscience. And you know what? Let's get Job 13. Let's go ahead and get Job 13 before we get started. Boom, 13 and 4. We're going to go straight to the point. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. And I wanted to read the rest. I want to make sure there's nothing else I'm going to glean before I read this. Before I read a couple of these portions out of these pages. Will you speak wickedly for God and talk deceitfully for? Yes. That's what we want. So I'm going to, let's just read down here, and then we'll get it in the NLT as well, and then I'll continue. All right. Oh, that you would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom, right? And remember verse 5, okay? Remember verse 5. And if you have not read through Job, you need to read it, because I don't remember who this is that's talking to it. Maybe I think it was Eliphaz or Elias, one of those guys, one of those men that were, or Job was responding to one of these men, and because they were speaking very presumptuously concerning the Lord or concerning Yahweh's judgment and on why Job is in the position that he's in. But that's another story for another day. You need to read it on your own. All right. We're just going to glean this for context, though. So verse 5, oh, that you would altogether hold your peace, and it should be your wisdom. All right. Hold on to that. Put your finger in that. Hold your peace. Hear now my reasoning and hearken to the pleading of my lips. Will you speak wickedly for God and talk deceitfully for him? All right. So this is what he's doing out of his own ignorance, because he is under the impression that the white Christians here in the West are Jacob, and and the so-called JEWs or the JOOs that are in the land that they stole, that are in that land currently, are the Edomites. And he speaks about them with such vitriol. Granted, it's the truth. It is all true what he's saying about them. But he doesn't even know that he's talking about his head tribe. Because just like Jacob and Israel, Jacob being the progenitor of the 12 tribes, and then you fast forward and you have the split after Solomon's death, and then you have Israel. All right, so Israel and then Judah. Judah being the representation of the southern kingdom who stayed on that side of the earth or on that side of the world. And then you have Israel, who is represented by the northern kingdom, headed by Ephraim, who came here to Babylon the Great, or what is known now as Babylon the Great, or the Americas. So when you speak of Jacob, it is of the 12. When you say Jacob, Jacob can be interchangeable with the 12 tribes. When you say, let's not get into that. Let me just read this. So he speaks of the truth, and this is their tongue falling upon themselves. This is a great example. He speaks the truth as if he is from a standpoint of him being an Israelite, or of him, this guy being who I think is an Edomite. I don't know him from a can of paint, but he speaks as if the Lord actually loves him, assuming he's an Edomite. So it's easy for him to speak against his brother, right? And the head tribe, which is Amalek, which is over there. And then you have other tribes of Edomites, because you know that they go and they call lands by their names. They take over lands and then they call those lands by their names, right? And you have the scripture where it says he never keepeth at home. I'm going to read page 31, not the entire page, but I'm going to start the second paragraph and then read a couple things, and then that'll be the video. But I just want you to kind of see what's going on here. Maybe, that way you can get your second hand. You ain't got to spend $150. You can hear some of it from me. And you can also go to pdfdrive.com and type in books, and you can download those, put them on a little thumb drive, boom, and you have your books. Okay, so this is the second paragraph here. Just like the characteristics of roles of the old city of Babylon were transmitted in succeeding kingdoms, Persia, Greece, and Rome, right? That's through Daniel. It's talking about the various captivities we would fall in. Individuals transmit their characteristic to their successors, and that is why America, or Babylon the Great, is all of those places wrapped in together. And I pause, these are my own words now. And Babylon the Great is all of it. That is why you can Rome 2.0, or you can say the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Okay. All right. Individuals transmit. So I'm going to go back and read. This is no longer my words. This is the book. Thus, a descendant or successor of Esau, Edom, will possess roles and attributes of its ancestors. And if you look back, even now, we don't even have to go to quote unquote Bible times, because we are still in biblical times. There are prophecies that have yet to happen. So that means the times that we are in are still Bible times. Everything was written. It just has to play out. Okay. And he also speaks on that a little bit towards the end. So if you want to locate Esau, Edom, you will go into the scriptures, right? So you will go into things such as Malachi 1 and 4, or I believe there's only one, not Micah. Okay. And you will read things like this. Okay. Have I loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Okay. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation with forever. You go to Job 9 and 24. You have the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He cover up the faces of the judges thereof. If you talk about how old Rome fell, and you have that period of 1,000 years where they will be locked in the prison, where they call him Satan, because he is the adversary of Jacob, right? He is the accuser of our brethren. Esau, Edom, and Jacob are mortal enemies in this play that we have going, in this live action film that we have going. You can wait, let me, actually, so we said Job 9 and 24. There's one more I wanted to get before I went on. And forgive me, my brain is moving so fast because there's so many different things coming to mind. I just can't slow it down. So let me give myself a minute, collect myself. We're talking about ancestors, right? Okay, so the water, Yahweh, Bashim Shy. You can search the scriptures So you have that. You can have how Antiochus put hell. If you go to the Apocrypha and you read through the book of Maccabees, you can see how Antiochus, who was an Edomite, put hell on our people. You can see how towers and monuments were built in Rome, and they're built like that here. All of these different things you can go to link Esau, Edom, and you can also go into certain scriptures that will link Babylon or Esau, Edom to be the head of Babylon. All different ways you can go, and I may post those scriptures in the description box, Lord willing, I remember, on linking Babylon to Esau, Edom, because every time you see they're linked with destruction. Every time you see Edom, it's always about pure, utter destruction. Okay, so he goes on to say we can identify Edom today as in history as the JEWs because they are the ones that are cursed and rejected by God and are the ones who despise every godly thing as did Esau. But so do the rest of these Edomites. So do the ones that came here, the Spaniards, the Dutch, because the way old Rome was set up, those vassal states are what you would call today as like NATO and EU or the European Union. Okay, Esau had the hatred and desire for revenge Esau had towards Jacob can be found in the JEW's attitude towards the white Christian people. Now, the correct way to look at that is that Amalek pretty much took the birthright and took the blessing and shit on his brothers, on the rest of his tribesmen. And hey, that's what they chose to do, and that is why they are not fit to lead. And he goes on to call them a parasite, but anywhere a pale-skinned or a palm-colored person is, and if they are truly an Edomite, they are a parasite everywhere that they go. He tries to link it to just those people over there, but if we have any understanding at all, we understand that these are all, you were just different tribes. Just as there are 12 tribes of Israel, there are multiple tribes that fall under the title or name or ethnicity, however you want to call it, as Esau, Edom. So no matter what they do, they are a parasite on the earth. There was one more scripture that I wanted to get before I called it, but I just wanted to show this is how this was one of the earliest forms that I saw of, as far as in a book, of their tongues falling upon themselves. And I'm pretty sure at one point this book, nobody knew anything about it, but because the truth has gone out, things get expensive. When the prophets start speaking on, when the men of Great Millstone start speaking on something, you start to notice things get a little expensive. Okay, so let me go. I'm trying to remember the last scripture that I wanted to get. You know what? While we wait, let's go to Lamentations 4 while we wait. Because I'm sure, I have faith that the Spirit will hit me. And if not, hey, whatever scriptures that come up, I will put them in the description box for you to read at your leisure. Lamentations 4. And we can talk about how it's always about them being destroyed in the end, okay? Let's see. Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. And you can link that with their tongues falling upon themselves, okay? Because now that man of sin is revealed. And the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So we're almost there. We're almost accomplished. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Right? And that's starting with the head tribe, which is Amalek, who you would refer to as the so-called JEWs or Ishes on that side. But they are the bastards that are dwelling in Ashdod. And then we want to get, I thought of the scripture while I was reading this one. Revelation 7. I believe it's Revelation chapter 7. Because I spoke on that time period when there was 1,000 years where they were in darkness. So that was when old Rome fell, and then you had that was the pagan Roman Empire, and then you can go to it being the Holy Roman Empire, so-called holy, because that's when Jake was ruling, but they were, still going off, still wicked. And then, if you couple that with when the Renaissance started, you get roundabout, circa 1300, and 1,000 years before that, okay, you count back 300 something. Look at when pagan Roman Empire fell, around 300 something officially. So that 1,000 years was them, Esau, Edom, as a nation, dwelling in the dust, in the caves, unbathed, unlearned, showing their true nature. Which, when let's see, hold on, nope, it's not. Maybe it's 11. Out of the following. Oh, but let me continue on my thought. They will go back to their true nature. You will be able to identify them once you have this societal collapse and they have to go without. They will return to their true nature, because them being cordial or them behaving like civilized folk is only predicated on the standing of society. As feminism, it's only predicated on a society that stands. But when you have lawlessness, Esau Edom shows his true colors. Let's see. No, not that one. Maybe it's 12. I just can't. I'm trying to. 777. Huh. Okay, I looked in low and lamb, stood on Mount Zion, and she was shy. Beautiful chapter, by the way, right here. Just bear with me, because I love to read about Babylon falling. Maybe it's 17. No. 20. I cannot remember where it's at. There we go. Revelation 20. Okay. So you read it 1, 2, 3, and then you go to 7, because 4, 5, and 6 are post issue, post trouble, post all of this, right? And then that is that 1,000-year reign when Yahweh Shai, setting up, putting things back in order, whooping these heathen ass with that rod of iron. So you'll read 1, 2, and then we'll go to 3, cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more. Okay, and then you go to 7, all right, because this is how you link Esau Edom. This is how you search his ancestors. That's what Buddy said. That's what Charles A. Weisman said. You look at his ancestors and see what he's doing today, and this is what they're doing today. Verse 7, and when 1,000 years are expired, right, the Renaissance, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. So he's coming out of them caves, and he's shaving the hair off his back, and he's no longer ooga booga, he's making up bullshit laws so that way to further oppress the people, and painting over real images and saying, and going over and taking over lands and saying they are the Vikings, they were the Greeks, they were the anything of note in history, it was them. All right, or they're Irish, they're Scots, they were the Danes. And it shall go out and deceive the nations, verse 8, and to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. Okay, and that is what he did. But his little time period for deception is coming to an end, right? As you can see, because the word has gone out, it has permeated this entire earth, and you see people talking, everything's being stirred up. But most importantly, this devil is being revealed, and everybody sees who he is and calling him out on his bull. So now there's nothing left but him to come down with great wrath, because he understands that he has but a short time, right? He's only gonna, he only thing he can do is revert to what he knows best, which is the sword. So with that being said, I didn't really have anything planned. I think we're gonna call it here. Again, there's the book. If you can find it for cheap, hey, it's a decent read, but honestly, go to pdfdrive.com, make an account, get your little thumb drive, type it in, download it, move it over to the thumb drive, and you can read it yourself. And also, please be aware that you need to you eat the meat and spit out the bones. There's quite a bit of bones in here, because he's under the impression that they are the chosen people, that white Christians, so-called white Christians, are of the seed of Jacob, and again, the JEWs over there are Esau, Edom. So if you have a great understanding about that, then go ahead and read this. But if you don't, I suggest that you get a little bit more of a solid foundation in these scriptures of who is who. With that being said, shalom.